Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mhm. Thank you so much for sharing the basic knowledge and concept about robotics. We really appreciate you, sir. So the next session on this will be our question and answer section. So if you have any question, you can just I think you can drop it in the chat box, or you can do well to unmute yourself and speak. Is there anyone who has a question? Is there anyone who has a question? I think we let me check. Okay, even if they don't have any question, I have a question actually. The question actually relates to somebody who doesn't have access to things that I have mentioned about robotics, like someone, let's say, less privileged, someone of less privilege. Like, how do one secure access to opportunities that makes one connected to this robotic aspect? In order for one to build one's like one's project, or maybe one's innovation, or about something like this, someone that doesn't have like access to things like this now, the dream can be killed.
Okay.
You might not really have
Okay.
the mindset of saying, I'm going to go into this robotics again. Someone like me now, it happened to me sometimes. So I just maybe I redirected my insight on this robotics. So how do one secure access to things that can help one build its own mindset about this robotics?
Okay, so I'll put it this way: it's a mindset problem. It's a mindset problem, and I would give you this with somebody's story. I'm allowed to call the person's name because the person made the post publicly on LinkedIn. But then again, maybe I can keep it discreet. I saw his post where he was tagging. I don't know. I'm echoing. There's a reason why am I echoing? Okay, so I saw his post where he was saying this same complaint that you made, and his argument was he wants to really go into robotics, but he doesn't have access to the privilege. He doesn't do this, and things like that actually tick me off. Reason being that for the people that actually know how I started my whole tech and software thing, you would actually know that all of us like, I mean, there are people that are privileged, but I was not, because So this is what I would say: almost everything you need, almost though. Now there's a reason why I'm saying almost, because the first criteria is to have a laptop, and that is the greatest hurdle. So you must not have the best laptops, right? This particular guy made a post that he's running, his laptop is on 8 gig, and he's using an i3. He gave the full specification of the laptops, and he said that his complaint was he feels he's less privileged because he wants to upgrade it to a better laptop, and he wants to buy hardware parts for robotics. And on LinkedIn, I'm usually a bit cautious with how I talk, right? Reason being that that's like a professional space. But at that point, I threw away all caution, and I told him he's not even a serious person. Like, he's not a serious person, frankly. And I'll tell you point blank. Reason being that I've showed you a robot dog. I have showed you autonomous robots. I can even show you a humanoid. I can literally show you a whole lot of things that I did not pay to get. It's literally online. It's either, I mean, it did not come already built. I had to do some work. But that's when you do some work. And that work is what you're supposed to be ready to put in. I don't know if you understand. Now, hardware is very expensive. You are very correct. But I did not start with hardware. As a matter of fact, you can do software completely without having to pay for anything. Python, C++, all of these are what? YouTube is free. I mean, data is expensive, but come on. You should maybe find a way to source data if that's the issue. But I feel if you are serious enough. Now, back to the story. I attacked this guy. I attacked this guy on LinkedIn, right? And after I did, based on I have this large follower kind of thing, a lot of people actually saw it. And then there's some people that supported that were like, oh yeah, that actually. And there's people that did not. So later on, this guy messaged me and he was like, he thought of everything. And he said maybe he's the one being a bit lazy about things. And I should, actually, he's coming plainly that actually wants to be mentored. Because for me to say he has more than enough to start, provided he has a laptop, it really touched him, right? So long story short, it's been 3 months and the guy is far better. He's confident enough to even make applications to US schools. He's far confident. A lot of the things that you need in robotics is more of awareness and knowledge than money. It's going to come to a point where it's going to be obvious that, okay, yeah, you need money, but it's not something that stops you. If you tell me it's hardware you want to do particularly, then I'll tell you, you actually need money. But as my father will say, they use another man's eye, they sleep. If you know that, okay, it's tough for your side and you know to guide, instead of you to look at saying, oh, I want to start with hardware, I want to be buying expensive things. Now, where your hand reach, you go first hand clothes. So you first start with software and you take it bit by bit. Say, for example, in my own side, I didn't start my software life. I didn't start this whole robotics thing with hardware, I started with simple things, you watch YouTube videos, you try things around. So it's a very painful process. You must put in the work. And I can guarantee you, even if you have the money and already put in the work, you just end up buying junks and probably not using it. The same way, some philosophers say the cheapest thing to pay for is your gym subscription. The problem is, would you actually be able to put in that commitment to go every single time? So while I understand that there is a finance issue, I do not see it as something that limits you from entering. And if there's something I strongly believe, I believe that with sufficient hard work that you put in, you will go places. And I mean, all of us here know, I mean, somebody that we all know is probably Saka. I don't want to believe Saka came from a very wealthy family. I mean, I don't want to use wealth as anything, because see, I know where I'm coming from, and I hate excuses like that. But Saka literally touched the world a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, I can go on and on, but I hope by now you've probably seen what I'm trying to say. I can see one question that someone said, can we make 4 drones to be moving in one direction? Yeah. I mean, basically, you can do anything. Hypothetically, you can do anything. So you just want them to be 4 in one line. Yes, you can do that. Instead of in circles. Yeah, you can do that. Thank you for the presentation. How do you go about robotics as a beginner? You see that question, That question is a very valid question. Very valid question. Now, in the workshop I organize, yes, I can see your hand, BWeb Studio. I can see your hand, but these questions came before you raised your hand. So, in the workshop that I organize, as of people that go to that workshop, you find that most of the roadmaps you see outside are, how do I put it? They are not sequential per se, right? Almost nothing sequential. There are times that I have a class and I'll tell my students, okay, see, there's more to this, but let's first know this, because in order to fully understand it, there's another thing we need to know on one side. If you ever, for some reason, start by learning ROS, you probably realize that, I mean, why are we publishing from camera why are we publishing from camera? Why is the motto subscribing? Why are we doing it this way? Why are we not doing it this way? And then you probably have to go back to robot architecture. And then you might be in robot architecture, and then you suddenly realize that for things to work a certain way, you need to understand some form of maths. And before you know, you're jumping into maths. And that's one problem that somebody complained to me. And he said, it seems everything is so connected that you don't know how to follow it. And the best way that I will answer it is start somewhere. And if you meet a stumbling block, divert to solve that block and ensure to return back to where you branched from. Else is a very, very deep descent into for more confusion. So as a beginner, you just have to start. I mean, when I started, it was also that difficult too. But as you keep on growing, and another thing that will help you is having a mentor. It's going to give you a lot of boost. Because for me, if someone asks, should I do this first and do this and do this and do this? I know because I have fucked around a lot. So I can say, oh, if you actually do it in this order, you are going to get some form of issues. Right? And then I can give advice and say, okay, do this instead. So yeah, those are the things. You have to get the work done and you have to get mentor. So thank you very much for the eye-opening session. My question is, can one use simulation software to understand robotics better? Let me tell you something. CRS, Croatian, Czechia Robotics Systems Lab is the best laboratory in Europe for aerial robotics. They have a lot of drones. But never, you will not see them using drones to do robotics. Any form of learning, any form of lecture, any form of test, any form of anything remains in simulation. So it's only, I see some kind of people say you cannot do robotics in simulation, you cannot do robotics without hardware, and to me it's bullshit. It's bullshit because most of the jobs I do is from software. I literally work remotely and it's all software. But people that know me. And I mean I do some hardware too, but most of the jobs are software that I do. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, simulation, yeah. Now, I'm not saying simulation is the only thing and simulation is perfect. No. I'm just opening your eyes because I mean this is probably the first time some people are seeing maybe a full robot in simulation, and the fact that you can move the robot around in simulation. Sorry, my laptop is actually freezing because I didn't run whole thing. So either ways, you can run a full simulation, you can do almost anything you want. The code works and all of that. Problem is if you want to do a complete robot pipeline, like you want to go from idea to production, after you do all your simulation and everything works in simulation, you would have to now do what is called sim to real, which is to fine tune it to match real life, right? So yes, you can do everything in simulation. If no, could you provide a friendly textbook? Textbooks are not friendly, except I really don't know. I mean, textbooks are not really supposed to be friendly. Textbooks contain a lot of things. The textbook I recommend to you might not be so friendly. So maybe again, it depends on the style. I'm not the kind of person that I'm someone that prefer reading textbooks. I prefer reading textbooks than going to class or than watching tutorials. But I've recommended textbooks to some people and they're like it doesn't work for them. So I mean that's basically. Lastly, can we get slides for reference? Yeah, sure. Provided you don't modify them. I mean, as it is. Okay, now, is robotics all about humanoid? No. All the cars that are produced, I can say for Toyota, I can say for some other cars, almost from start to finish, they're all done with robots. None of those robots are humanoids. None of those robots are humanoids. So robotics cannot be all. As a matter of fact, the only reason why humanoids are popular now is because It's just because of ego. Because face it outrightly. I'm happy, please. I think I'm echoing.
Let me check.
Yeah, okay. Because face it outrightly, there's no real use case for a humanoid per se. And that is something I discuss with my friends a lot. I mean, we all know that most humanoid you see humanoid folding clothes, you see humanoid playing table tennis, you see humanoid doing sports, you see humanoid doing things, but there are more applications of robotics outside humanoids. You cannot put a humanoid and an industrial robot and tell me that a humanoid is better than an industrial robot. Humanoids just have hype. And the funny thing is, there are people sponsoring the programs. Like, there are people that are really crazy about it. There's a lot of money in it. So I and my friends, we can laugh all we want to laugh and say humanoid are just like da. But if work come for humanoid with the kind of money they attach to it, we will still see us working on it. So that's just the thing. It's just like this nice hype that is around it. And it's doing very well too, by the way. So I see the reason for the hype. Now, what technology used in AGV for lifting goods? That's a very ambiguous question. It's a very ambiguous question because I want to assume you're talking of autonomous ground vehicles. And if you are lifting goods, I don't know if you want to lift it from ground all the way into the payload. But with assumption that that's what you want to do, a hydraulic system will be better, depending on the payload. So hydraulic system is what I would answer that. But I'm telling you that that's ambiguous. And how can we get textbooks in Nigeria? I don't know. This is something that I think you can just search for online. You can buy textbooks online. You can go to your library. I know there's a library that has I've forgotten which of my students saw that. But one very nice textbook by Bruno Siciliano is actually in his library. So if it's in your library, you can actually buy it. Also, you can order from Amazon. It will take like 2 weeks, but it's expensive. I think it's expensive. Can probably get to about 80,000, 100,000. Okay, why get the text hard copy if you want soft? If you can get it soft copy, just it depends on you, Sha. Okay, Vincent, your hands are up, please. What's up?
Which person? Can you
Jonathan,
speak if you have
Vincent.
a question? Oh, maybe it looks like the person cannot have access. How maybe we can get through the person to ask our question later. Maybe on our
Okay.
platform, we're going to contact you. Okay, so before we put an end to this meeting, I would love to recognize the presence of our rain team lead, the person of Aditayo Osaka. If he has any addition or any comments, I don't know if he's here. Okay, I don't think he's here. I just checked through now. Okay. Okay, once again, I would love to appreciate our speaker for today's session,
Sorry, I wanted to
Dr.
ask a
Bakel.
question.
Okay, okay, yeah, speak. We're waiting for you. Hello, can you hear me? Unmute yourself if you are interested in asking your question. We have used past our time already. Oh, looks like this person is. Okay, so on behalf of Rain LAUTECH team, I would love to appreciate our speaker for today's session for sharing his. Ask your question if you're interested in asking your question.
Or probably just type it if you're having network issues. You can
Okay,
just type
type it, yes.
I was asking how software to do simulation.
I've opened 2 software now, Mojoko and PyBullet.
I was asking what software is he using to run the simulation?
I said I opened 2 softwares. The first one was Mojoko, the second was PyBullet.
I think that should be all for his question. Okay, so Thank you very much, our speaker, once again. We appreciate you, the Rain Team LAUTECH community, the participant also. Thank you very much. And our Rain Team lead also, we appreciate you, even if we are not here currently. So thank you very much, everyone. This will be the end of today's session.